Good evening, all. I'm Avasaheb Kale, RIT Mechanical 1996 batch. I welcome all of you on behalf of RIT-Alumni Advisory Hub, RAAH. First of all, I wish you very happy Independence Day. Today, we have a special agenda for this particular meeting, and we have invited Sri Sharad Marathe for this particular very innovative talk, and we have also already circulated information on this particular subject. Before we start, I'll just like to give you some of the specific instructions. Please do not mute yourself during the presentation. If you have any question for Sri Marathe, please feel free to use chat section for the same. And while doing that, I will request all of you to please refrain from using chat section for general talks, because it will be very difficult for us to collect the questions and then post it to Sri Marathe at the end of this session. In case if there's any problem or during the live session, please rejoin the session on the same coordinates. Just brief, 12 weeks back, we started this particular alumni forum with very simple objective to help each other as alumni, to help our mother. I hope I'm audible.
Yeah, now it's audible, sir.
Yeah, I think there was some bandwidth problem. So we have been discussing and doing a lot of work on our special objectives, initiatives and all. And fortunately, now we have detailed out everything and going ahead with well-defined agenda. During this process, I thank our great alumni from 1995 batch, Mechanical, Mr. Sachin Shirsagar. He recently introduced us to Mr. Marathe, and then the discussion started on the subject of how we can take these initiatives forward. Meantime, before we start, I welcome Mr. Sharad Marathe, as well as our Director of RIT, Dr. Professor Sushma Kulkarni. Thank you for joining. An entire team of RIT, all alumni who have made it today on this auspicious day to listen Sri Marathe. With this, I'll request my colleague, Mr. Sachin Shirsagar, to please introduce our today's speaker, Sri Sharad Marathe. Sachin, over to you. Sachin, please go ahead.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, good evening and welcome everybody and happy Independence Day. Here we have the great evening today, as Mr. Sharad Marathe is accompanied with us to guide us to this forum. And just I would like to brief about Mr. Sharad Marathe. At present, Sharad Marathe is holding a task force set up by Ayush Ministry by Government of India as a chairperson. Also, he is the industry advisor to AICTE, Government of India. Is the president and CEO of Universal Technical System, UTS. This company is doing very great things from last around more than 30 to 40 years. A big game changer for various industries like aerospace and others. And their clients are Boeing and many. And what are the softwares or the spreadsheets they are using? These are so suites that it can be used by any industry, and Boeing is one of them who are utilize their spreadsheet to configure their auto takeoff and landing software. Also, Mr. Marathe has doing the policy development work at an NITI Aayog to double farmers' income in using the new business development model. He is also one of the founder of Pune Software Park Private Limited, formerly known as Software Technology Park of Talaude. And this was the breakthrough when there was no any network system in India, and that time he hired the satellite services from ISRO and started exporting the software to USA. And that time this turnover was hardly 30 million in 1985, and today it is more than 150 billion. So just think of his vision 40 years back, what he have put, and now we are reaping the benefit of that. And many other more things he is now doing with various government activity. We are happy to get him associated as a guide or guru for our alumni network, alumni forum to guide further, and it will be a great thing for RIT as well as Alumni Hub to get his guidance. So without taking much time, I will ask Sharad Marathe ji to take over and start about his presentation. Thank you.
Thanks, Sachin. Can you all hear me?
Yes, sir,
Yes,
we can
sir.
hear you.
All right. So what I'm going to do is, I guess I'm just getting used to the Zoom part of it. And hopefully you can see my screen.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Let me just maximize that. All right. So first of all, thanks for the kind words, Sachin, and etc. Actually, you could have kept the introduction very short. There is not much to say. But you managed to keep it for a little longer period of time, and I'm pretty grateful to you for that. I noticed that I have trouble spelling. I meant to say aspiration, but left out the N. The college, as I understand it, has an aspiration to achieve competence in academics, research, and entrepreneurship. And this is a part of a 5-year plan that they have developed, from what I gather in a brief discussion we had with the director earlier today. And also to make the organization and the people coming out of it globally competitive, competent in terms of human capital development. And to be able to have confidence in problem-solving capability and applied knowledge and hands-on engineering skills is the sort of a overall aspiration that I see for the institution, and where the alumni can help in that process is the way, if I was asked, would be my thinking. This is who I am. You probably see me on the video. A little bit about my background in terms of what Sachin covered. Excuse me. I have been based in the United States since 1966. I also have a base in India. I have homes in both US and India. Last 10 years, I'm spending more time in India. Previously, I used to live there and visit India. Now I have reversed it, and that was a conscious plan. In another little over a week, I will turn 76. So, but one thing, as I said earlier to the director and the others that I was speaking to, I've been somewhat fortunate in all these years that I don't recall a single day when I felt bored in doing what I was doing. And therefore, I don't understand what a concept of retirement means, because to me, doing what you do and what you enjoy doing is what life is all about. So whether I spend time in running my software company or helping in the society in some way or the other, I thoroughly enjoy that, and I work just as hard doing that as I would anything else. My education is master's degrees in engineering and MBA, both from US. And as Sachin said, that I've been involved in some level or the other, fairly consistently working with India for the last 40 years, have invested a lot of time and money in doing this of my own, not because somebody asked me, but because I felt that there was an opportunity, and because I felt that I could do something. And as Sachin said, back when I started developing the concept, I wrote a paper in 1982 on what it is that India should do. And the focus was to basically build knowledge-based businesses, things such as software, engineering services, pharmaceutical services, legals, it doesn't matter. Brain-based labor is where I felt that our country should do well. And it was, I wrote it for an ethnic newspaper in America in 1982. And I have basically used that as a blueprint for whatever it is that I have done. And I got the opportunity to work with Mrs. Indira Gandhi back in the early 80s. And she gave me a lot of support. And as Sachin said, in those days, there was not even an email in the country, no network, no nothing. But I felt that this is the kind of stuff that India needed to do. We got things like satellite communications approved in 1984 and got the whole scheme put together in 84 October. And I still remember that my papers were submitted day before Indira Gandhi was shot, because I had committed to her that I would not leave the country till I finished the job. I turned in the papers, I flew out that night. When I landed in London, I heard she was shot. I mean, I couldn't believe it. I remember that day like yesterday. But even then, the scheme cleared within 5 weeks without a single objection from any ministry, because they were all involved. I worked on getting their buy-in early on. And that is the key to do anything, anywhere, whether it is in a corporate sector in America or working in policy space in India. I've learned that you have to do your planning and work and sell the ideas ahead of time. Then you formally present it on a piece of paper. And the model that we developed back then has gone from 30 crore rupees to over $180 billion today of annual sales, and rising still at 30% per year. And that has helped India, what I call the urban India, develop. And India now gets recognized globally as a software player. And I feel, pretty good about that, at least having played some hand in making that happen. And the other part was that in the entire policy model we developed back then has held up to this date. And the thrust of it was that the government should not be involved in any of this activity, that their goal should be to sort of assist, facilitate, and guide, but not be a player. And 99% of the investments in the software sector has all come from industry. I'm firmly convinced that the same sort of thing can happen in so many other sectors today where India has still great potential. So, and those are the kinds of things I'm working on right now. As Sachin pointed out, I'm working on some other activities because I felt that what I did back 40 years ago has benefited urban India, but rural India, which is 2/3 of where our country is, still lags far behind. And so now I have put practically all of my extra attention into that sector on how to increase the farmers' income through market mechanisms to make it happen. In addition, I help All India Council of Technical Education in a lot of policy development and etc. I've got a very good relationship with the chairman, vice chairman, and all the senior team in there. And even the things like the rural area development work that we are doing, I would hope and think that pretty soon you will start seeing the results of that. And I'm totally confident that things like doubling a farmer's income is totally possible. Totally possible. And we can actually do it with the government spending half the money they spend now, maybe even less, and getting twice the result. A little bit about my company, Universal Technical Systems, which is based in the US, and we operate under the same name in India and in Europe. And we are an engineering, scientific, software products company. We do not sell man hours. We don't do body shopping, consultancy, any of that. Once in a while for our large customers, we may do a little bit of it. And our user base is in virtually every industry you can think of. All the major corporations globally are our customers and have been for many, many years. Aerospace, automotive, chemical, petrochemical, you name it. wastewater treatment. It doesn't matter, because wherever they have engineers working, scientists working, they use our software in making calculations, which makes it much, much easier. In fact, a lot of educational institutions use it in teaching, and a few in India as well, but mostly the educational users are abroad. For those of you who may want to, I've shared my website as well. And incidentally, after I make a couple of corrections in my slides, afterwards, if any of you want to get access to the PowerPoint deck that I have, I would be very happy, Abasai, for you or Sachin to share it with your colleagues. If they can benefit from it, that's fine. Like I said, we've been based in US as a company since 1984. Before that, I worked for 14 years in a large multinational, got a tremendous opportunity to work as a research engineer as well as different levels of management. And I was pretty fortunate even before I was 40 to have a pretty senior executive level position in a company back then was about $500 million company. But I got a chance to learn a lot. And to this date, I'm very grateful to that company. Our software company also has 2 offices in India besides the one in US. The Indian offices are in Gurgaon and Pune. In Pune, we have shifted from the software park, which I had helped set up in Talwade, to we are now in Hinjewadi. And we also have one office in England. I'll just sort of share with you what I feel what is unique about us, because some of that may be of interest to you, because these are the values that we have worked on throughout. We build world-class products. We invest in R&D very heavily. These products are very well proven. I personally, I mean, we have thousands of customers, and I do not know of a single unhappy customer, because I make it my personal business to know if there is any problem with customers. Everything else I'm very happy to delegate to my team, and I do delegate. But customer care is something I feel pretty passionate about. Besides the US, we have 2 development centers in India. And our products, one of their core competencies is they have a very high productivity for our customers. If you are setting up engineering calculations using one of our products called TK Solver, you will do it in anywhere in 1% of the time to 10% of the time it takes doing it any other way. It's far superior to the likes of Excel, MATLAB, and some of the other tools that are used in mathematical calculations. And I don't just make this as a sales pitch, but we've invested pretty heavily in doing that, literally millions of dollars. And we make sure that our products are kept current throughout. To this date, we have never lagged behind in terms of technology, because it takes a large investment to make that happen. And like I said earlier, we're very customer focused and market driven, because that's the only way you can survive in business. As I understand it, this alumni group, in terms of background, where they're coming from, in the short time that I have worked with them, I've known Sachin for a while, and he introduced me to the other colleagues. But I am pretty impressed with this group, the way they go about doing things, they're being organized, they're polite, they're timely, and they do what they said they would do. And I think that is so important, is in every single aspect, if we commit to do something and if we do it, that's what earns us credibility and respect that of our other colleagues and whoever we work with. Yeah, the other thing is the college brings student resources, faculties, basic infrastructure, etc. that's available. I have seen the videotape of your institute, looks very nice, very well done. A lot of investments I can see have gone into the infrastructure. And I'm convinced that your students are just as smart as any other students anywhere else. And if they are guided properly and if they're given the opportunities, there is absolutely no reason why they cannot be globally competitive and competent to do whatever task we ask them to do. But it is important that we add value to these people the right way. We must stretch their minds, give them the opportunities to not only learn, but to apply what they learn. Now, on the other side, the employers are also looking for well-trained graduates. Traditionally in India, the placement record overall, if I see, about 1 million plus engineers that graduate every year, 70 to 80% are not getting jobs, or not getting jobs, the kind of jobs they should be getting. So they are getting underemployed or not getting employed at all. Dr. Kulkarni, she shared with me today the statistics, and your placement record seems to be very good, and you should all feel very proud about that. But even there, I think if we can improve on it, and if their employment offers are better, then more and more your quality of engineer students joining the institute will improve. And that should be the objective, that people should fight to get in, and then only you will build the brand that you need to build and stay on the top. What I do see, and the discussion with the director was pretty useful, is that the college administrators are receptive, they're forward thinking. The director shared with me some of the vision they have, or a 5-year strategic plan broken down into 5 goals, yearly goals. They measure it. So, you're going about it the right way. And I think that's important, because improvement is a continuous process. And if we stay with it, there is no reason we cannot achieve the objectives that we have in mind. And for this, not just the alumni group, but the college as a whole, one of the objectives I would like to suggest, and I know that in India that does not happen, is get the graduating engineers to be job ready on day one. Literally on day one, they should be able to start working as soon as they get the basic orientation from the HR department where they have just joined. That doesn't happen. People quite often require training of 6 months to 1 year. And that is a money lost by employers. And it's a loss to the society. Now, one of the other objectives that I see is for the alumni to build a strong network to help each other, to help the college, help the community, because I'm so happy that they're working on giving something back to the society and to the mother institute that gave them the education. Because the education is a passport that helps us travel through this life. And that is one thing that nobody can ever take away from us. People can take away money, they can take away jobs, they can take away everything else, except that the knowledge stays with us. And if the alumni can build a close association with the college administrators, the faculty, students, and the nearby employers, a lot can be happening. And the placement environment, I feel, the industry should fight to come in. They should say that, we want to come and pick up your best student. They should be there early. They should be competing, because that is when you know that you've created a great product. And the alumni, I would like to see them help the RIT to significantly rise in its rankings. I was a little bit perplexed when the director said to me that you're one of in the top 200. And earlier I had heard a number that you see in the top 75 in the country. And some of those numbers shift around because maybe there are other private universities coming in, and their way of measuring the ranking is sort of involves a lot of different features, whereby you may not score as well, but that should not matter. What should matter is the output of the students that comes out, and if the industry values them, then that's all that matters. Now, I would like to suggest that as the college and the alumni helping them wherever they can, the focus should be in the rapid growth of agri-business. India is a very big agricultural producing country, but we are very, very low when it comes to adding value to our agriculture. One of the things that I have seen in the Niti Aayog task force in doubling a farmer's income, excuse me, was based upon a concept note that I had prepared, saying that we require a new business model to make the farmer's income go up. We cannot keep on doing what we do It may be a little bit different in Western Maharashtra, but as a country, 85% of our farmers, their land holding is less than 1 hectare. And every new generation, that size gets smaller because of family divisions. And therefore, there is no economy of scale for that farmer to stand on. They don't have the selling power in the market. They don't have the buying power to buy the things they need to buy, and et cetera, et cetera. Young people don't want to stay in the farming because it's not as attractive to them anymore. So, but the minute we can start thinking about going from agriculture to agribusiness, the game changes. I've looked into this a lot. And if I ask all of you, what do you think is the percent of profit that a company makes anywhere in the world, regardless of the product that you make, from furniture to computers to airplanes to cars? The profit as a percent of sales is somewhere between 5 to 10%. In terms of agribusiness, it is better than 30, 35%. The proportionate capital required to be invested in that business is low. But as of now, the business community in general has not yet seen the attractiveness of this sector. And I think that is one of the areas where we need to focus on, is to show the opportunities. I have a couple of slides towards the end where I will share with you some examples just to bring home the point. The other thing is, in and around here, say if you go to Kolhapur, if you go to Kirloskarwadi, even if you think about Pune, greater area, there is a large MSME sector operating there. I think it is important for the college to look at that sector as its area of focus when it comes to industry. What are its needs? I mean, today Chinese products are entering into Indian market and have been doing that, and they're wiping out our MSME's business in many, many areas. It doesn't have to be that way. I think if we innovate and if we improve our quality, productivity, and etc., Indian minds are very sharp. Indian worker is a hardworking worker, given the opportunity and the training and the skills development. Much is possible, but we have to focus on it. We don't have to have a gigantic scale to make something by the millions. You can make it in the thousands and still be cost competitive and quality competitive. But I would like to see that the university, I mean the college, focus into these kinds of areas. There is no reason to do R&D in a glamorous way like an MIT might be doing, Stanford, or some of the IITs and Indian Institute of Science might be doing. You have to do what is relevant for your market segment. And if you excel in that, then that's all it takes. And in doing so, you can assist in significantly increasing the rural income. I think there are many, many opportunities. And as we do this, we should be looking at, do I see a message coming across here? No. As we do that, we should be environmentally conscious. Using water, using soil pollution, air pollution, water, etc. That sustainability should be there, and in fact, in many cases for export market and all, environmental compliance is a very critical requirement. So that should be one of the focus areas that we have to think about. We cannot go on abusing the environment and hoping that it will be around tomorrow. And if we can, and we must align ourselves to national priorities. That's the only way the country will become strong and everybody will benefit from it. As set of goals, I would like to suggest that the Alumni Hub should prepare for its activities a detailed plan, a business plan, say by September 30th, 2020, in the next 6 weeks. If you put your mind to it, it's totally doable. And what I see this organization so far, they are fully capable of doing that. And I think they should do that. And as they do it, they must get a buy-in. There's no point doing a business plan saying, these are the great things we are going to do, if that is not compatible with the thinking of the administration and the faculty, students, and the rest of the alumni. So we must all pull in the same direction to be effective. And that can be done, but you have to sell these ideas ahead of time. Make everybody a stakeholder in the process. Get their inputs in a genuine way and make it as a better product. The plan should be based upon all of that. And one of the early things that you need to do is to run the entire alumni hub, every facet of it, through a very active website. And I don't mean just a pretty HTML pages with some graphics and a sizzle in it, but it should be fully database driven and working in a very, very efficient manner. And all of that, in my opinion, ought to be done by your students. The key items of the implementation plan, as I see it, is as I said just a moment ago, is to develop the alumni network, the hub, and the website development should be by RIT computer science students and information technology students with some guidance from the faculty, but where the alumni are playing a key role in saying what they want it to be. Benchmark that against the best websites in the world, not just academic and alumni website, but there may be others. I mean, just look at what Amazon does. You may think Amazon is in a marketing business. No, they're in IT business. And not only that, they run their IT operation very efficiently, but they also sell their basic infrastructure to others. They license it to others. So you can do a lot and the students will benefit. They will get a good experience out of it. And the alumni network can also benefit from that. You should also be looking at, I mean, already your campus is very nice looking, but I think you can still make it go further. And the minute somebody walks in, they should get the feeling that they are not in India. They should get the feeling that they're somewhere in one of the most developed Western countries, clean places like Luxembourg, Switzerland, where, you know, everything is immaculate, manicured, well-maintained, and etc. That same thing can happen on your campus as well. And there can be a lot of little things that can be done and done extremely well. Roll out the AICTE model curriculum and then improve on it. The director said that you're already using and you have adopted the AICTE model curriculum. But in my view, that should not be the end point. It should be a starting point. And there is a lot of area there that needs further improvement. Yeah, the college is an autonomous body, so there is no reason they cannot improve on it. And the entire mindset needs to change from making these teaching and the assessment marks oriented, because that's all students are focused on. How do I get the best scores in my exams, rather than how do I learn something with which I can do things with my own hands. Then one of the areas that I will talk a little bit more about later is to incorporate a very strong internship initiative. And I have some ideas that I would like to present and put forward. I believe that that can be the core of the entire transformation and making our students ready on job one. And in order to do that, we need to look at our teaching schedule in a little different way. And I am covering a little bit more of that detail later. You can also be using multimedia-based teaching and learning. A lot of this content is available. I have spoken to somebody that's a good friend of mine based out of Chennai, and I have got them to agree to offer their entire content for different courses. That is all multimedia-based video and all that available to you at a very, very low cost. And then the faculty doesn't have to spend their time covering just routine things that are in the textbook, or routine things that are now covered much nicer in this multimedia-based teaching process. So the faculty can spend more time in guiding the students, helping them think through on how to do problem solving. And I think that is what will help build the students into better engineers. I would also like to suggest the Alumni Hub set up a not-for-profit Section 8 company or a trust, whatever you want to call it, so that their entire activity should run through that. If you want, I can get a law firm I know in Mumbai very, very good people, and maybe I might be able to get them to do it for you for free. The website, as I said earlier, ought to be fully driven and developed by your students. And they must do deep thinking in doing that. They should design it on paper, lay it all out, get the approval before they start writing the code. There is a mindset of computer science people and others start getting on the keyboard and then they hack their way to something. That is not the way you write good code. You must design it well and then build the software to deliver the results out of that. That website should be fully database driven so that it can be used to extract a lot of useful information later on. And among the key activities that the website can cover and should cover is all the contact details of the profiles of the alumni, and that should be on a voluntary basis. The alumni, whatever information they want to put, and it's similarly about the administrators, the faculty, the students, that information should become an asset. And it should be used in the right way, keeping track of the privacy, but at the same time in a way that benefits the larger objectives. The financial contributions given by the alumni, that should all get processed at a very low cost through the website in an automated transaction. And it should be all in a very transparent mode. Among the other things that can be posted on that are the past and the current student and faculty projects, all the internship program details, etc., etc. The website should be the way to efficiently run the organization. Now I want to dwell a little bit on the internship initiative. And what I mean by that today the teaching schedule involves 6 days in a week, Monday through Saturday, I suppose. I like to suggest that we look at that as 4 days of teaching followed by 2 days of on-the-job internship. Now that may be in a manufacturing company, engineering office, even a grocery store, it doesn't matter. Wherever business activities are taken place, students should go in there, and even if you are sweeping floor in a place, you will learn a lot about what goes on in and around you. And if 4 days of teaching and 2 days of internship is too much of a culture shock right away, maybe you can do 5+1 for a year and then switch to 4+2. The reason I'm suggesting it this way, if an employer knows that the students will be available for about 120 days in a year, that employer will take that student seriously, because then they will invest some time in training that person because they know that that resource is available. If you just go in there during a few weeks of a summer, that, in my view, is not enough as an internship. It is better than nothing, but we should have internship done in a great deal of detail and in depth, because that is crucial. And what I would like to suggest, that a team of 3 students should go to an employer. One involving a 3rd-year student, one a 2nd-year student, and one a 1st-year student, because the 1st-year student will be very raw. They'd be first time away from home, etc. But if they are there along with 2 other boys or girls, then they will learn and they will work as a team together. The other thing that the alumni should do, the faculty should do, is build a database of employers within the area with the profile, like I said earlier, and meet with these employers, share with them the vision of what you're trying to do, get their ideas, get their concerns, and then tailor the internship program in a fashion that it works well. We have some other detail regarding the internship that later on, if you all like the idea, we will share that with you. We're developing this thing in working through the AICTE, both for diploma students as well as degree students. Now, I realize that in case of diploma, you cannot do too many different things because you're driven by the state policies, but perhaps you can talk to the state saying, you know, you want to experiment this way, and chances are they will let you do it. We are working with some other states right now, northeastern states, Haryana and others, and they seem to be very, very open and receptive to this idea. I would also like to suggest that for those, at least initially, volunteers, the faculty should go through internship also. I don't know how many of your faculty have actually industry work experience, but if they don't, I think it's very, very, very helpful if the faculty knows what's going on in a workplace, because that will help them guide the students much better. And in order for students as well as faculty to be successful in internship, they need to be trained the right way. One of the things I would suggest is a soft skills course that is available through MKCL in Pune. If you want, I will introduce you to Vivek Sawant there and some of the other team that I know fairly well. And it's a 40-hour sort of a training program, and the cost is very low. 4 hours per 4 rupees per hour. In other words, one student for the entire course will pay 160 rupees. To me, it's every bit worth it. And this should be a part of that training that we put the students through, get them ready to internship. And all these activities should be monitored through the website, including, did the students show up at the internship site? Well, with today's mobile phones and the location identification and everything else that you get, all of that should be possible. And that should get developed through the website. The other thing that we need to do, and it seems like the college is doing a number of things, but I think there is always a room to do more, is to improve on the teaching methods as well as syllabus. Already you're doing some things such as tinkering lab and other things in small projects in teaching, but I believe that the project-oriented learning should be increased even more, greater depth, more projects. And this is where the multimedia-based training content that I talked about can be made available for the routine things, so that more time can be spent in project-based learning in the classroom and in the labs. And make the entire learning problem-solving and team-oriented. Every class should be divided in teams of, say, 3 to 5 students. They should be given a common assignment. They should discuss it, come back and present it in the class. And this way they will learn confidence, learn from each other, and the faculty should be mentoring and guiding in that process, which would also require retraining of the faculty, but I think that's the kind of stuff that needs to be done. I already talked about the soft skills training, but that should include effective writing, effective listening, team-based activities, lots of these things that are critical on the job. I find that many engineers, if you ask them to write a 1-page, 2-page, or a 10-page report, they choke on it. Their English is terrible, their formatting is terrible, and the business world cannot operate this way. Business world requires written communication, good capabilities, internal communication, as well as working with suppliers and customers. Such a core skill that is required, and it is not enough emphasized. I don't know how good the faculty is into doing that. If they're not, then the faculty should get trained. And the other part we need to look at is which are the courses where students don't do as well. I remember the time when I was studying, and I don't think it's any different now. Courses like engineering graphics, which comes in the first year, many students have difficulty to go from 2D views to visualizing an object as a 3D. Well, in today's world, why can we not use a completely different approach? I'm sure that the college has 3D solid modeling software available. Put the students, give them 2 hours worth of training on how to use that software, and tell them to start drawing some parts and see what they look like. And through that software will tell you what a 2D view looks like, what a cross-section looks like. And this is one of the ways where they won't get bored, they will learn. and their success rate will go up. We have seen very similar things in failures with numerical methods courses, whether they're taught in the second or third year, and people don't do well. And even if they pass with low marks. And that is not good enough. And there are a number of courses like that where students have difficulty. You should identify those and flag those as things to work on. So that our goal should be that out of every 100 students, the high percent, 80, 90, 95% should come out learning well. Some may learn it faster than others, but that's okay. They should all reach to the same, what I call competency by the time they're done with it. Because that is what the industry requires, is well-trained, competent people. Now, the other thing I would like to suggest in curriculum improvement is what I call multidisciplinary problem-solving course. And it should be in first semester, third semester, and fifth semester. The director talked about a problem-solving oriented course that is taught in the first year. I would like to see the multidisciplinary problem-solving that is common to all the sectors in the first year. You know, it should not be in a silo of mechanical, electrical, civil. It should be, you know, multiple skills are required in problem solving. So given a word description of a problem, a person should be able to translate that into the language of physics and mathematics. And there may have to be other areas such as chemistry, even biology and all, psychology that will get involved in that problem solving. And we should be teaching people better in terms of application of statistics, because it is so critical today in the job world. To improve quality, they should know how statistics work, not as a theory where students get bored to death, but they should learn how to apply statistics in problem solving. And multimedia and mathematical based teaching and learning are very critical for students to explore a problem. Let's see here. Why does this? Yeah. One of the things I would like to suggest that you look at a clean campus initiative. And I don't know how, say, for example, I hate to use these topics, but they are important. You know, how good are the toilets in the, for the gents and the ladies in the campus and the hostels? And they should be spotless, they should be clean, and they should be hygienic and kept throughout like that. I've shared with you a link for the Sulabh International, and they built a number of these kinds of facilities. I know in Delhi, and I imagine a lot of other cities as well. But the students should get involved in looking at the way it is today, identifying where it can be done better, and having this, and maybe the faculty should help pay for some of this out of the money they may raise, and show what can be done. You know, a lot of small things, if you make that as a success and show to people that things are different, it starts establishing the faith in people's mind. Another thing is things like the water use. We should assess how we are using the water today. Are we recycling it enough? Are we taking wastewater treatment? Are we reusing that water for landscaping and other things? Or even before you use landscaping, you should be using the treated wastewater in the flushing of toilets. And all of these things are today known, they are available. Water as a resource, only countries like Israel use it in a very wise way. India wastes a lot of water. It should not be that way. We should be looking at rainwater harvesting, solid waste management. I had done a paper on solid waste management. If some of you want to take interest in that, I will share that with you later. So much of the solid waste goes into garbage dump, where less than 5% needs to go to the garbage dump. Everything else can be recycled or composted. And those are the things that are important for the environment that we live in. And I think if we do that, the students will feel proud, the society will benefit. I see that your campus does have good landscaping and all, but can they do better? Maybe you should define the campus into a grid and each grid square, so to speak, the ownership of it should be adopted by student groups. They should take care of it. They should feel proud about that. And that is how the entire campus can be improved as per a master plan, not ad hoc, but master plan does not require a lot of money because colleges don't have spare money to spend on these kinds of things. With student volunteers, students will learn something, they'll take pride in it, and the campus can be made to look nice. When I visited places like NIT Kurukshetra, very, very nice looking campus, meticulously done. One or two of the faculty members take a lot of interest in it, and now a kind of a tradition has developed there. Very nice looking. And you know, it creates a very good first impression by whoever comes there. And that first impression matters. The other thing I would like to see is a lot of pilot projects to be done, make them a success, and then scale. And document the baseline. How are we doing today? So you can measure when there is a progress being made, and then that should be documented, should be reported. I hope I'm not taking too much of your time. I have a few more slides and then I'll try to wrap up. The other thing I would like to suggest is the whole campus should be basically chemical-free region. And that can be done. I don't know how many of you are familiar with the work done by people like Subhash Palekar. He calls it zero budget natural farming. It doesn't have to be zero budget, but the techniques of natural farming there are excellent. I've seen them to be working. I've visited some places that have adopted that. The soil quality goes up, the organic carbon in the soil goes up, water use goes down by maybe 50%. I've met a number of farmers that are practicing that, and they are financially better off and they're happier. You would be shocked to know, I don't know if you know that, you know, Punjab was considered as a success story in the green revolution of India. But today, Punjab is a basket case as far as I can see. The Ludhiana district of Punjab has the highest concentration of what I call pesticides and chemicals in a breast milk. I mean, to me, there is nothing more criminal than feeding that newborn the chemicals that are coming from our water and food. That is because of all the chemicals that are used in the agricultural business. It should not be that way. You know, there is a train that runs from Punjab to Rajasthan every day, and they call it Cancer Express. You know, the society deserves better than that. Today, you have pest control products that are available, that are herbal, nanotechnology based, and it is so safe that you can drink it. The people that have developed it, I know them personally, based in Rajkot. There's a company in Pune that markets it. You may know Hanuman Gaikwad and his company. But this thing not only does pest control, but also improves the productivity of the crop. And it is crop agnostic. The same thing will work on many different crops. So this thing should not only be used on the campus, but students should become aware of it, and they should spread this gospel, spread this word to the nearby farmers. They would be grateful, they will save money, and the society will be better off. Now I want to talk a little bit about the fundraising by the alumni. I am going to take the liberty of making a suggestion that those alumni that are based in India and want to be a part of this hub should maybe take a commitment to donate 250 to 300 rupees a month. If somebody wants to give more, that is great. But if they commit to do this much, to me, that's not going to pinch somebody's pocket too much. Those living outside of India, maybe $10 to $15 a month. And the website should be made automatic so that making that contribution should be simple. The money should get totaled up automatically in the bank account, and there should be a responding email going back to the donor saying your money was received, thank you so much, etc. They know that way that the money has not disappeared somewhere. And everything should be run in a clean, transparent way so that people will, more and more alumni will feel like joining. I mean, you have the capability to make the alumni hub having a membership of 5 to 10,000. Imagine if you have 10,000 people that are members, how much money you can raise that will go for a larger cause. But it has to be done in a very methodical way. And I always say that in everything you do, details matter. The devil is in the detail. If there is no such thing as, too fine of a detail. Sweat it, work on it, make it happen. Then there are other ways and innovative ways to significantly increase the fundraising. It is possible. Someday later, for those of you who are interested, I will share some ideas with you. I didn't want to overload your circuits right now, but I know that that is possible. And with that, you can do so much, and you will feel proud about it. My suggestion is your website is not ready, but those alumni who are on this program today and those who can pass the word, take the pledge as of today. Make it so that your contributions will be effective August 2020. If the website is ready in September, then you should be contributing for August and September. Start setting that money aside and make that commitment and make it happen. The pledge for the Independence Day, and I want to suggest something to you. We should be thankful to our forefathers, the Gandhis, the Tilaks, and everybody, Nehrus, who made India get independence from the British in 1947. Today, we are able to think as citizens of a free country without somebody putting a gun to our head. But that was political independence. Now, one must aspire to turn this independence into an economic independence. And we will only become strong on the borders with China and Pakistan and all if we are very strong economically. And to be becoming economically strong, one of its most important thing is to how we cultivate the human capital. And you are in the business of training human resources. It is one of the most noble causes. The country needs it, and you have an opportunity to make that resource one of the best in the world. It is totally possible. There is no reason why it cannot be done. And if we do this, India can become a very strong economic powerhouse in the top 2, top 3 economies of the world in the next 20, 30 years. It is totally possible. India has a lot of resources. It has a big market. It has talented people, hardworking people. We just need to make sure we harness that resource well. Now I want to share with you a couple of case studies in what I think is where you are operating is an agricultural belt. And therefore, it is important for you to think about how to take the country from agriculture to agribusiness. I'll share with you a little bit of a case study. In the sugarcane area, the farmer gets anywhere from 1,800 rupees to 3,000 rupees per ton for the sugarcane they supply to the sugar mill. Well, imagine that you can think of the sugarcane in a different way for a minute. What is the sugar mill interested in? They need to get the juice out of it to make sugar, and they get the crushed, the biomass, and then they may use it in the things like the boiler and all. And that is the value that the sugar mill gets, and the farmer may get 2 rupees, 2.5 rupees a kilo for their produce. Let me suggest to you a little different way to look at this. Imagine that sugarcane is cut into a 1.5 feet, 2 foot long pieces of sugarcane and now cut vertically into 2 semi-cylinders. Inside of it is the juice. You can take it out, and the refinery, sugar refinery, can use it to make the juice, sugar like they do today. So they're no worse off. But there are 3 other products that you can generate out of it. One is a fiber. Then the wood that is there in the sugarcane can be used to make things like tableware at the restaurants and places like that. And on the outside of the sugarcane, there is a wax. That wax is very, very valuable in a cosmetics. Now, the same 2.5 rupees a kilo, if you have a group of farmers that process this and sell the juice to the sugar factory, and the sugar factory make the steam using bio-CNG or something like that, that 1 kilo of sugarcane, the leftover part of it, when you take that into consideration, the profit will be more than 200 rupees. Now the entire economics of that farmer changes, of that area, the wealth creation changes. And this is the kind of an innovative thinking that is required to, in a what I call regionally relevant fashion. And so much is possible. Now remember, what you can do in your area is not necessarily the same thing that people in Nashik should do. People in Nashik will have different products, tomatoes, grapes, etc. But the concept should be to get the best value from your agricultural produce. I'll give you a couple of other examples. A pomegranate, which grows in a Baramati area, grows in the Ahmednagar area, in the best of times, the farmer may get 50 rupees per kilo as a fruit. The same 1 kilo of pomegranate, the value can turn into 1,000 rupees if you can make pomegranate wine out of it, take the oil out of the seeds and use it in cosmetics, and even the skin of the pomegranate dried and it can be used in cosmetics. So there are different ways to look at that fruit. So all I'm trying to say is one must be innovative, one must be creative. You know, apples, the best that a farmer may get is 50 rupees a kilo as a fruit. But if you look at that, the juice and getting chemicals out of the leftover part, the value now all of a sudden can increase to beyond 400 rupees a kg. So the country has to think differently, and all of a sudden its economics will change dramatically. Now, my suggestion is the RIT's research should not be focused on aerospace research and the same research that somebody may be doing at Indian Institute of Science in Bangalore or IIT Mumbai. Their research should be aimed at what is regionally relevant in an agribusiness fashion, MSME fashion, and etc. And the papers that you may publish don't have to be the same kind of papers that are published by the MITs of this world. They should be based upon the relevance of the things you do in your backyard. And if you do that properly, then I believe so much is possible. But what is required is a new way of thinking. In this, the alumni should help in making this transformation. Because if the college sees what can be done, if they see evidence of it, more and more people would want to participate in it. And they can actually enjoy doing rather than doing the same thing over and over. This is my last slide, so thankfully for you. What should be the next? One is to develop a time-bound action plan and to make sure we do it as per the plan and to track it, to measure it. And don't wait till the last day to make it happen. Anything that is tracked continuously will help you get to the end goal much better. Divide the work into smaller pieces and give ownership of each of the smaller pieces to different teams. And maybe 1 or 2 teams should be involved in tying all the smaller teams' work together into a final outcome, but it should be part of a cohesive plan. I mean, why do a good orchestra, why do they succeed? Is because there is an orchestra conductor and everybody plays the instruments to their best abilities in their own way. As I said earlier, you must get a buy-in of all the stakeholders so that they all pull in the same direction. If people have concerns, they should be able to express those ahead of time. And you try to incorporate as many of their concerns as you can. If you cannot, you should be able to tell them why you were not able to do it. You should be able to continuously innovate and be creative in doing what you're doing. And we should be aspiring to make India a better place. I always feel in whatever I do that the goal should be, and I try to live by that, is to leave this place better than I found it. And if you can do that, there is an inner satisfaction that you will get. I know that this alumni hub and this group, they've already begun. Now they need to organize further, to scale and to accelerate. And my congratulations to all of you and to the administrators, to Dr. Sushma Kulkarni for the support she's giving to, and leading the college. I was so impressed with her resume that, you know, she's there right after finishing her education in Kolhapur. She joined your college and she has risen through the ranks. And she knows, therefore, every single facet of this college. And my appreciation and congratulations to her as well. I thank you for putting up with me, and I will stop. And I guess the rest is all in your hands now.
Splendid, sir. I think we all were just listening to you very carefully, and to be very frank, it was one of the best talk of our life. Thank you so much for being there today. On such
I
a
did
wonderful
realize
day.
that I went 6 minutes over.
I know, but I couldn't stop you. I think we all will bear for that. We have very important session after this. And like you rightly pointed out, sir, can you please stop the screen, stop the sharing?
Stop sharing it? Okay, just
Yes.
a sec.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we
Done.
have Sushma madam with us today, and I take this opportunity to invite her to take control of this particular forum now. I can just assure you, sir, whatever we are doing till now, she's been always standing with us, observing our journey, giving necessary suggestions and guidance. An entire RIT staff, professors, and everybody, they love the entire institute and they love alumni. And that's where we could come to the 12th meeting. Without saying much, we already crossed a couple of minutes. I request ma'am to please unmute herself and please give concluding remarks as well as vote of thanks. Over to you, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Thank you, Abasep. And I must really thank Marathe sir for this wonderful presentation, which is, you know, I was reminded of the book named Execution by, I think, Larry Bossidy. And that person talks of execution. So from planning to execution. Generally what happens is we all do planning, but when it comes to execution, the detailings are missed out. But what I could find in his presentation was that every detailing was to the action and execution. That's how we should go step ahead and try to execute the things as per the plans. So his presentation was an example of that. The way he had laid down all the points, right from what alumni should do and what RIT should improve on. And basically first studying what RIT is, talking to me and then going to website. He has done wonderful homework, and I really, sir, I really don't have words for the way you have guided us. And I'm very happy to inform you that all my faculty was there on this virtual platform. They have heard you, and that's why very much thankful to the Alumni Association named now RAAH, and Vasayab and his team, Sachin Shirsagar, and all the team members. I can see Ramesh Sadhav. I may not be able to take all the names, but all the alumni team members who want to give back to alma mater. I can see their self-drive, their divine intention to support RIT to grow from where we are. And I'm really glad, sir, the way you have guided us, our alumni, our faculty. I'm sure we will all have a thought process on whatever you have suggested. It may be clean and green campus, it may be chemical free working, it may be connecting with the agricultural field, because we are in Western Maharashtra, it's a agriculturally very rich region. So thinking of agro business and a lot of thoughts and ideas you have given, and we'll surely think about it. Once again, sir, thank you very much for this wonderful guidance. And I must thank Abba Sahib and his team of RAAH for arranging this lecture for us. And I'm very sure that it is going to help all of us. Thank you. Over to you, Abba Sahib.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much for being there. I know there are certain domestic responsibility of yours. Still, you could spare entire hour with us, and it's really encouraging for all of us. Just to assure Marathe sir, we have taken note of each and every point which you had discussed in last couple of days with us. We had more than 4 meetings. I would love to tell all people here that to prepare for 1 hour of this particular talk, she spoke to entire task force of RAAH for more than 2 times, then individually with me, Sachin and ma'am, a number of times, and then came again with his comments and suggestions. We will bother you, sir, again and again for helping us and guiding us in near future. And we are now really motivated that we are walking on a very predefined and correct path, most important. Thank you so much for blessing us with your presence. I thank you, Professor Sachin Patil and entire team for being here and supporting this initiative. With this, I think we are really sorry for overshooting the time by 11 minutes, but it was definitely worth. Thank you so much. Please take care and good night. Signing off from RAAH, from entire team, and I must congratulate entire RAAH team, especially all the 17 members of task force for putting up their best efforts and making this entire webinar a success. We saw a maximum number of 220 attendees today. Thank you so much, and please take care. Thank you.
Yeah, Abba, thank you so much for the opportunity. I enjoyed it, and I am so sorry we ran a little over, but I enjoyed it, and I wish you all the success. And Jai Hind and happy Independence Day again.
Jai Hind, sir. Jai Hind. Thank you so much. Good night.